Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome back to week 11 of the God Wars. Man, this was a big one. Before I get into it, let you guys know I'm going to hold maybe a live stream or something to clarify some combat procedures for this, because this was the first real combat, the first shots heard around the world, and it's partially the reason for the delay of this video. It took me many hours to collate all the information and get with the armies and factions and line everything up so that we could do the math, because there's no die rolling in combat. It's all based on your numbers versus their numbers, your might versus their defense, or your mystic power versus their defense. And some of the stacking rules were a little difficult for some folks to wrap their heads around, and the exact placement of where your units are really does matter. We'll get into that tomorrow or the next day, but first let's get into the report. Like I said, this was a big one. This was week 11, June 23rd through June 30th. Blood on the Sands. Fleets of ships and armies of elven, humans, and Mothmen poured in from all over the globe in the defense of the High Elven Nation as the final armies of the Harvester disembarked onto the golden shores of Astaria this lunar cycle. The first blood of Lord Xantar's noble people was spilt this lunar cycle. However, it was soon avenged with the splintering and pulverized bones of the Harvester's minions. Lady Tariel's giant eagles descended upon the armies of the Harvester and were successful in destroying several armies of the God of Death, while taking very few casualties themselves. Back home, her people rejoiced at their victories while continuing to marshal wood elven archers and sending them into her cousin's realm, and sending a large contingent into the lands of Lord Hillfeather and their new halfling allies. Lady Tamia's sea serpent riders successfully cornered the fleets of the Harvester and began picking them off one by one this cycle, until only one remained off the shores of the High Elven Kingdom. The mountaintops of Lord Aradron's realm began pulsing with deep violet and crimson energies as the dark elven chanting from within those mountains could be heard far and wide this cycle, yet the dire elves kept themselves hidden within their mountain halls. The realm of Lord Dracor, the god of wisdom, saw the creation of a spiraling tower that reached high into the clouds over the reptilian empire this lunar cycle, while its people seemed content to remain in their temples praying for guidance from their beloved deity. The reptilians of the Sinking Plain were once again only heard through the reeds and tangles of their swampy homelands, while the prayers to Uxmal rang out far and wide from their ziggurat capital. The swamps of Lord Zelix have seen construction of many new structures recently, as the mists and fog cleared. A new city, a large new temple, and a large castle can now be clearly seen from the southern coast of the reptilian homelands. The minions of the Great Devourer continued their never-ending hunt for sacrifices to the Great Devourer's voracious appetite that are rumored to now include passing ships and any sea elves foolish enough to be caught outside their own waters. Alilith's grand castle was completed to the throngs of joyous Winzed, who flocked to witness the grand palace's unveiling this lunar cycle, amidst the fireworks and soaring dragons overhead, accompanied by the music of the spheres that could be heard all across the planet. The war fleets of the Harvesters saw crushing defeat at the hands of the Elven, Human, and Mothman alliance this cycle. 5 out of 6 fleets were destroyed by siege engines, opposing war fleets, and the mystical lighthouses of the Mothmen and the high sorceries of Lord Xantar, Lady Tariel, and Lady Tamia. The one fleet of the Harvesters that fled this theater of war headed into the waters off the coast of Lord Brutus's realm, the Lord of the Mountains. The combined might of Lady Izza's armies, multitudes, and abominations, and her awe-inspiring mastery over the dark arts nearly destroyed all of Lord Arcanum's people this lunar cycle. Only those capable of fleeing north into the sanctuary of Lord Timo's lands avoided destruction. Even Lord Arcanum himself fled his homelands this cycle, leaving the ruins of his kingdom to be trampled under the iron-shod boots of Lady Izza's soulless minions. The silence in the mountain realm of Lord Stundar's kingdom was broken this cycle as titanic thunderclouds and lightning bolts crashed into his mountain refuge, destroying most of his holdings, and scattered his people across the icy waste of the southern polar region. Lord Brutus and his storm giant priests and prophets laid their cousin down in an act of treachery that will not soon be forgotten. Lord Brutus launched his first mighty war fleet this cycle, and it met and escorted the last remaining fleet of the Harvester into his own harbor, where it docked and unloaded its unholy cargo, while the Lord of the Mountain watched from on high as his people continued to toil under his ever-present and ever-watchful gaze. Mystic energies continued to surge at a staggering rate on the peninsula of Lord Teng Fei. Energies and the sounds of avalanches and earthquakes shake the very foundations of the southern polar region. The forges of Ratham Rex, the god of war and dark magic, blot out the sun this lunar cycle, obscuring his nation for hundreds of leagues in every direction. A new and awful city rose deep from within Ilstrandia's realm, and from it issued multitude after multitude of arachnid zealots, followed by a great army, all headed south, while deadly green vapors seep out from the crevasses and other dark places near her northern peninsula. I always giggle when I say this name. Click-clack, Bibbledoop remains still unseen within her watery abyss and deep in thought, or so it seems, while the Azcatsian human fleet sailed dangerously close to her deep blue domain. Another magnificent lighthouse rose to Timo's bidding, shielding Timo's newly built temple on the southern elven shores in defiance of the Harvester's invasion. These lighthouses laid waste to several of the hordes of undead and almost single-handedly sunk one of the Harvester's fleets. A strange, deafening, buzzing sound could be heard throughout the nation of Vermark as his armies continued to trek toward Illustrandia's realm, as rumors of giant clanking metal beasts spread across the lands of the eastern and central continents. Lord Athanatos launched another fleet into the icy waves of the new city of Anatasia, while his minions erected another large castle along the icy shores of Ionia. Storms racked the realm of Averon the Balanced this lunar cycle, covering the lands with sleet and snow. Even the harbors around his great cities seemed blocked from maritime travel. Tembra, the first road and god of the oaths, fell this lunar cycle. He fell as the walls of his temple came crashing down, as fire and brimstone rained down from the stars above. Mighty meteors and hellfire swept his tiny nation into the depths of the Arctic tundra that had been his home and the home of his people. Giant spiders and roving swarms of giant vampiric bats, giant vampiric bats laid waste to his befuddled worshippers, and when the smoke cleared, not one stone was left standing and not one corpse was left behind. A beautiful new city and tower were completed by the chosen people of the mighty river god Eshmun, just before a wicked storm front besieged the northern lands of the human nations this lunar cycle. Wood elves and the giant eagle minions were seen landing within the realm of Lord Karam, and when they departed, Lord Karam himself was seen leading a mighty wing of giant eagles, apparently a gift from Lady Tamariel herself. These newly mounted warriors were then seen heading into the land of Lord Hillfeather, while back home Lord Karam's people began the long march westward toward the lands of the halflings, or possibly toward the realm of Lord Gromdar. Rumors of pestilence spreading through the realm of Lord Kurza, the Hearthfather, have spread all the way across the western continent, as Lord Kurza's forges bellow into the long nights, while the priests give the last rite to those who succumb to the famines that followed. Lord Gromdar's forges were also belching forth smoke and fire this lunar cycle, as his armies began to exit the cities and castles, strongholds, heading in the direction of Lord Marsala and his gnomish followers. The people of the hills, the halflings, began a nationwide purge of all unwelcome visitors this lunar cycle as they begin to rebuild their fallen city of Hearthshire this cycle with the help of their new elven and human allies. Wood elven mounted archers, along with high elven knights and human rangers borne aloft by giant eagles, all assisted in the scouring of the realm of Lord Hillfeather. Strange metal machines were seen over the kingdom of Marsala the giant. It seems the master of obsession and his gnomish followers have mastered the art of flight and now mighty airships patrol the borders of his realm as armies of dwarven warriors march headlong into their own possible destruction. The crushing onslaught of Lady Izza's war machine nearly annihilated the entirety of Lord Arcanom's people. Only those capable of mystic travel escaped the bitter defeat this cycle, and those that did survive howled with sorrow all the way to the waiting shores of Lord Timo and his Mothman subjects. While Lord Az's fleets were being defeated by the vampiric legions of von Stark, his eastern fleets nestled into their new island territories in the far west, creating a new city, temple, and port where new war fleets could be assembled. The Piper continues to marshal her forces and move them northward toward the island nation of Ilstrandia this cycle, as their war forges continue to belch noxious fumes and pillars of smoke high into the midland skies. The air superiority of von Stark's minions continued to be felt across the eastern skies as they incorporated the fallen peoples of the late Lord Tembr's realm into their ever-swelling ranks of the Lord of Blood's mighty hordes of undead thralls. There you have it. 2 factions are out of the game. A couple more look like they're going to see the end of their time on the planet of Myar. We shall see. You never know what could happen. Good work, folks. Keep it up. You're going to need every minion, every army, every multitude at your disposal in the coming weeks. Like I've said on other streams and other places, I don't see the game going on for another maybe month and a half, 2 months tops before we call it quits, and then maybe start up a new one. And we'll talk about that tomorrow night on my book club meeting. But for now, that's what I've got for you guys. Hope you guys had a great week, and enjoy your weekend. 4th of July is right around the corner. I'm looking forward to it. My second favorite of all the holidays. I will see you guys later on this week. Until then, happy trails.